my second incident was actually very rough, like an entire pencil testing incident in the office. And then I remember after that,
Pencil test.
we literally, I just kept seeing, and I'm like, Matt, they're asking someone who they should be asking hair entrepreneurship, hair care, they're having political questions. And I was picking up that tone of like, as a black woman, what about...
And I did say to them, please. And even when they came to my house and they filmed me at home, and I was like, no political questions. So that one was nice because we talked about love kings. I talked about hair care.
Thank you.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we've got the ever so gorgeous and lovely Zulaikha. Did I say it correctly? Yes. Awesome. So Zuleka and I've always known Zuleka, like I think all of us have, since 2016. She was the brave young lady at Pretoria Girls High School.
Yeah.
That spoke up about the discrimination against ladies with, like, young girls with bigger hair being told to sit at the back of the class and being told which hairstyles they can and can't wear. I went to a multiracial school and I can attest to that. I've had those experiences as well. We weren't allowed to have braids. We weren't allowed to actually have our hair in an afro. So they'd say that your hair has to lie back and touch your collar.
You have to tie your hair at the nape of your neck.
Yes. So they say it mustn't touch your collar actually.
Yes, but you must tie it at the nape of your neck. Yes. And the centimeter rule with the braids.
What was the centimeter rule? We weren't allowed to have.
When we had braids, you couldn't surpass like 1 centimeter in thickness.
Oh, in thickness. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. And that goes against hair care, right? Because the thinner the braids are, the more damage they can cause. So box braids
Other
are
than
more...
that, no stylist is going to sit with a ruler and go braid by braid.
100%. So I remember, I didn't think of it. Obviously, I wasn't as smart and aware of stuff back then when I was in grade 8 or even matric. So they'd say we have to tie our hair. So my hair was always relaxed. So I didn't think that if I had afro, my hair wouldn't be able to be tied, right? But now, many years later, when I started growing my afro, I only cut my hair 6 years ago. I actually realized you can almost never like tie your hair at the back, depending on how long it is. So I used to tie my hair, as you guys have seen, in a puff at the top. And when I tied at the bottom, I'd have to use lots of gel to lay it down.
Technically, you can't if you're using like lots of gel, because you're like, gel is essentially like forcing it down.
So you can't. Yeah. So basically, like, she was just that brave, and she had a group of ladies that supported her, and it was all over the news, right? So I just want to give her the opportunity to talk about her story. I want her to lead her narrative. I don't want to impose any assumptions I have about her and her story. Okay, so I met you at a Levi's event first time
in 2019.
Yeah,
I actually came to you and I told you you're my favorite influencer.
We took a picture. So I'll put the picture up here. Actually, I was looking at those pictures a week ago when I was emailing. And I loved meeting her. She's a stunning girl, well spoken. So I'm not shy. I've got anxiety. So I had seen her at the event, but I was like, what am I gonna get to her and say? Like, sometimes I'm too scared to greet people that I admire and love, because I'm just like, what am I gonna say? And my heart beats so fast, like I can hear it in my ears. So when I'm saying hi, I can hear my heart beat louder than I can hear my...
Really? That was me. That's why I just came when you were about to enter the dressing room.
Yes.
And then I just passed and I was like, oh, hi, Sino. There was nothing else I could say. I didn't, like, it just slipped out of my mouth. And then when I said it, I was like, she just greet people with their first names directly. You're probably going to be like, how do you know my first name?
I'm glad. So I think this attests to your personality. You're quite... Even if sometimes it's daunting, you're quite brave. I don't know if I'm imposing.
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say so.
That's a good characteristic to have.
Thank you.
Okay, so the second time, I think, have we met? Yeah, so another time we were both on training essay on the same day.
Yes, after clicks.
Yeah, after the click saga. And I thought she'd be in the studio, but she actually joined via Zoom.
Yes.
So I've had those two interactions, the one not really, the other one face to face, and then I started following her on I didn't even know she had Instagram before then. I've just known you because we know you, but I didn't know she had a social media presence before 2019, and then I followed her then, and she was on the Levi's campaign. Yeah, I've talked too much. Do you want to introduce yourself? Then I'll get to the questions.
Okay, yes. As she said, I'm Zulaikha. I think the formal introduction is when I state I'm an activist, social justice and anti-racism, and I'm an author. And and I guess I don't know, since I'm on a channel about natural hair, I guess I'll also introduce myself and say that I've had natural hair for about 7 years. Yeah, 7 years. My hair's turning 7 in August, yes. So I cut my hair. I went natural in 2014, August. I was in grade 6.
Wow.
And I was finding myself actually.
Wow.
And
in grade 6.
I just got to a point whereby I've been to former Model C multiracial schools from crèche.
Okay.
So I've also been someone that's had to undergo the forced assimilation into whiteness and into the desire to want to fit in and want to be respected as well. Because I remember that was the primary reason why I opted for straightened hair, and I never wanted natural hair. When I was in about like grade 4 or 5, for the full 2 years I wanted straight hair. Every single day I had straight hair. I only saw my hair whenever it was time to like get it done again. That's when I would see it, right? And I wasn't happy with it. I wouldn't stare at it. I'd just say to the person doing my hair, just do it, right? Okay. So I remember we had to do unprepared reading, right? And I could not, I would dread reading because I was just like, I just really can't articulate or pronounce these words. And it was just like my heart would like beat, where I'd feel it in my throat. Whenever I'd have to read, I'd hold the thing here and I'd like speak into it. So I remember what happened was I literally did that. Like I was speaking into the book and like my hands were, you could see. And then I remember the educator made a joke and she was like to me, your hair is sticking out of the book. It's sticking out of the book and it's speaking louder than what you're speaking. And then she said to me, she was
so
like,
crazy.
It's louder than you.
Oh, wow.
And then
she didn't know that she was planting a seed.
And then I remember this was grade 4. I remember I just ran out, and then I just I had a breakdown in the bathroom, and then after that the following week I was absent for like 2 days.
Wow.
And then it was on a Wednesday, I didn't come to school on Thursday, Friday.
Wow,
the following week I came back with straightened hair. You would think that I did not have natural hair. Like I made sure straight. And then for 2 years I had straightened hair.
So did you do it at the salon?
No,
okay.
I had my mom do it for me.
Okay.
And then because when I was in primary, my mom did my hair. When I got to grade 6, which is also like the time when you enter your adolescent years, I feel like that's when self-discovery started for me, and I had problems with like my straightened hair. Like when I'd look at myself in the mirror, I'd be like, but this isn't really me. This is like an altered version.
Definitely. And there's altered versions that we can sort of take off at the end of the night, like some makeup, but some altered versions that you feel like if you do something different or other than that version, then you don't fit in. Like I only started having those realizations like 4 to 5 years ago. So I cut my hair 6 years ago, and I cut it again this December. But I mean, I was still in the first 1 to 3 years after cutting my hair the first time, I was still wearing straightened hair. I'd put on wigs and weaves, and I started having those realizations that, hey, I don't ever feel pretty without this, but I was like, but this is not who I am at my most basic. And I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't leave the house without, but I didn't have braids. A wig or weave, braids. I'd feel ugly. So I never wore my short hair out. And when I did, I'd wear it to the office, because the office is like a formal space, and I didn't associate I didn't have to be beautiful at the office. Like I didn't see it like that. I was working back home, and then so I was like, actually, this was my thinking. I'll never cut my hair living in Joburg because there's too much life here, right? So I'd go back home and cut my hair when I'm at home. So I was only brave enough to cut my hair back home.
Eastern Cape.
Yes, Eastern Cape, and I didn't have peers really there because everyone was in Cape Town, Joburg, Durban working, and I had moved back after varsity. So I was just with my parents' office. And when I had to move back to Joburg, I was freaking out. I moved back to Joburg 2015. Then I was freaking out. What am I going to do? I can't go out. I can't go to the restaurant. I can't like this. And my hair was like this length, but I could never, like now I'm on YouTube with this hair transformation. But I mean, back then I would have never been caught dead in this hair. And then, so I used to wear dukes, like not these dukes, but the print dukes. And at first, I'm being honest now, for me, it wasn't about how pretty the duke was. I was trying to hide the short hair. So it's sad that now I can wear it. It's sad that then that was the reason, but now I can wear it because it's pretty. Actually, I hardly wear them now, the decorative ones, because I'm not trying to hide anything. And when I want to wear it, it's purely because it's a hairstyle or pretty or whatever. But back then, I'd go, I think when I worked at the Zone, I'd go 2 days in a week in a duke. And I actually did a tutorial on Instagram, on YouTube and everything.
On how to tie one.
Yes, but only now that I'm older, and even like in the last 2 years, have I realized the reasons why I was doing the things that I was doing.
So I had straightened hair for 2 years until I like just got tired of it, like I got sick of it. I was just happy that I didn't, at the time, I was just happy that I didn't have the natural hair, which was, at the time, I felt like was the cause of me being humiliated.
Okay. Oh wow, I love that all our stories are different.
And I got bullied by white boys in primary school
because of the hair.
Cause like I've always like been petite, small. Like I would sit in the front because I also used to be short, so I wouldn't see behind people. So every time I'd sit in the front in like grade 1, grade 2, they were always like the white boys would like pull my hair, or like I remember the one would like always stick a ruler into my hair.
Guys, that's crazy.
And I never liked that. And then
no one would.
I grew up like there was always like political talk in the house. So like I was surrounded by all these radical ideologies, and then, but it was never something that I actually like took with me. But then I don't know, I just got to a point in grade 6 where I was just thinking about it, and I was just thinking about all of the things they say at home, all the discussion. I was thinking about it, and then I just started thinking deeply about like just hair as well. And I was just like, there's just something about hair that you can't separate it from your identity. As much as you can say it's just hair, but like I used to think about, and I was also like on this tip where when I was in grade 6, I wanted to, I think that was when I was also thinking about what I want to become. So I actually said I wanted to become a historian at that point, right? So I remember they got me a book about ancient African queens, right? And then I remember the stories about Queen Nzinga, and like it was just a book about African monarchies that were led by women in different parts of like, and it was like a really nice children's book with pictures, right? And I remember paging through it, and just like I just kept seeing photos of how they would style their hair, right? And like how royalty
influenced by so much.
And I saw this other photo of like a queen from West Africa who literally put like 18 karat gold in her hair, right? And then I remember I was like, there's just something about being African and not being able to separate your hair from yourself. And
I think everyone,
and just, it's not just hair. And then I think that's when I was like, when I kept just saying to myself and seeing these images and reading other books, because I was determined, I thought I was going to be the biggest historian ever. I thought I was gonna be that person that makes it cool again to become a historian. So, because I remember when I'd say I want to become a historian, they're like, that job doesn't even pay.
All right, I didn't even know.
Who's still a historian? And then I cut it myself.
For the experience.
It wasn't a perfect cut. Actually, I think it wasn't a perfect cut. It's just me trying to make it sound nice. It was like really terrible cut. Because it was like skew, like I cut straight, and I cut with hair scissors, but I didn't cut straight. And then the following day they did take me to the salon to like make it even, and I had like a brush cut, literally. Like when you first cut in December before you went.
Oh wow!
Blonde. That's what
and you went to primary school like that.
And I went to primary school like that after having like
great.
long hair. Even when my hair was natural, I had like long hair, and then I went like that.
Wow!
And I remember the first thing someone said to me, it was winter. They're like, "Aren't you cold?" Like it's the winter's hitting your scalp.
Oh my gosh!
So then but then interestingly, my hair like grew fast.
Okay.
And then like September, I had like this much of an afro.
Okay.
And then October, I had like this much.
Okay.
Then December, like I had that much.
Okay.
And then I think that's where it started, and it also like made me confident.
Okay.
It like completely like that's when shyness completely died down for me.
Okay.
It made me confident, and I think that was like a point in life where I actually started to feel pretty.
Okay.
Like
Wow.
I would actually look in the mirror and I would be like, wow, I'm a 10 out of 10.
Oh yes, girl. I think there's something about going through the different stages of hair growth that really puts you together. I think the different parts of you just come together. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what I'm experiencing now. So my first hair growth journey wasn't great. Like it wasn't spiritual at all. But now I'm experiencing it totally differently. So I'm seeing aspects of me come out. I'm seeing myself sort of appreciate my face more and all of those things. Yeah.
And I think then that's also when I started to like think about hair in different ways, because I remember after that when my afro was like this much, and then I remember like I would describe myself as I looked like a young Black Panther. And then I remember
you're very well read.
One of my dad's friends came and was like, actually one of my dad's friends that like they were both very political. Like they were actually friends because they like crossed paths through politics, right? And then I remember he said to me, he's like, "Oh, you want to be rebellious like your dad now?" And then I never thought of it that way, right? And then I think that's when I started to like then think about hair in a political sense, where I actually started like now I made it a point to go read about the Miriam Makebas and what hair meant to them, Brenda Fassie and Yvonne Chaga Chaga and the Black Panthers, what hair meant to them. And then I think that's when I started developing a firm identity with my hair.
So is this like grade 7?
Yes.
So now you are an adult, a young adult in high school, and then what happens?
So when I got to high school, right, it was just this heavy, like you couldn't even blink and not notice it. You could see it that, you know, this was like what I described as at the time a war against blackness, right? You would literally, you couldn't, even the white girls saw it, and they like, some of them would sympathize and they'd be like,
I remember those
and they'd
girls.
say, I don't know how it feels, but I'm sorry.
Yes.
You know? And then I remember being threatened and being told that I'm not gonna write exams if I don't come back with relaxed hair, right?
Yo.
And then I remember there was a paper that I didn't write, and that was the cause of why I had bad marks in grade 8, because there was a paper that I didn't write. Because when we were writing, like an educator came in and she took that thing outside.
I know.
And then I left with her and then had to sit in her office, and then she never took me back to write the paper. So I remember it got really intense, and what was different this time around, it was because I could speak for myself, right? So what happened was I also wasn't shy, so I'd speak to people, right? And then what happened was I clicked very well with my matric mentor, right? I clicked very well with her, and she was also quite the very self-conscious person, rooted. And I'd tell her, I'd be like, no, you know what? I've had enough. I can't. I've been here for like 4 months. I can't breathe nicely in such conditions. And surely something has to be done. And I remember we'd have this conversation for like a full 2 months. Something must be done. Until I remember push came to shove, whereby we had like really traumatic incidents, like where we'd be humiliated at PE, where like I remember we'd line up, would have to line up, and then like they'd come with the swimming cap and put it on your head. And if it tore, if it tore, you wouldn't be allowed to do PE for the rest of the term. And it was like you being humiliated in front of everyone. So I remember that happened to me. The swimming cap like tore, and then I wasn't allowed to do PE. Then my second incident was actually very rough, like an entire pencil testing incident in the office. And then I remember after that,
pencil test,
I literally got called in one-on-one with an educator.
So they said the pencil must fall out.
She told me that she like literally, and she tried to like be sympathetic and all. She was like to me, no, you know, your afro has grown past the limit. And I was like, I didn't know there's an afro limit. She's like, it's grown past the limit. It's no longer appropriate for the girls' high standard. And it makes me question a lot. Like, she was like, are you even South African? She was asking me questions, right? And then like, she just turned around literally without asking. I remember things happened so fast. She turned around, took out a box, pencils, and literally and like, it was just standing there. It was like just positioned there. And then I remember after that, probably gonna have to censor this, like put a census on. She literally said to me in Afrikaans, she's like, you have rechte kafferhare. And then I remember like walking out of that, I was like, I told my dad, and my dad was like that. My dad started typing emails. My dad was like mad. And then he was like, and then he wanted to like go to the school, and then he went, and then after that they like were like, no sir, you didn't book an appointment to have a meeting with us, you have to go back. And then I remember after that, what happened was I got to a point where for me it wasn't just humiliation I wanted to swallow, you know. And then I remember we started like, we have to do something, and then we planned a protest, a silent protest initially.
I remember with the placards.
With the placards, the all black. And this is like silent, peaceful, harmless, right? Something in me like spoke before I thought, and I was like, oh well, you can arrest us. At first I said it softly, right? And then when I heard myself say that, I was like, why am I saying it so softly? Like, why? Then that's when I said it like more firmly. And then I was actually afraid because I thought that no one would like say anything. And then like everyone then like jumped onto it. And then I remember,
you guys have done nothing wrong.
And then I remembered like that was our standpoint. We were like, okay, take us all.
I guess maybe protest, maybe we were like against the code of conduct.
But I mean, what we argued is that the code of conduct must be in line with the Constitution.
No, 100%. 100%. I wanted to say the code of conduct didn't allow you guys to be who you are at your best, in the best way that you can be.
So I remember like there was like a few interviews that were conducted on the day, and a lot of other people, third parties, also wanted to speak. And then the narrative got lost in the media. And there's also larger systems that control narratives.
Definitely.
Right? So
the media sometimes turns things into what they try to create a different narrative, and whatever you say, they'll force it into the narrative.
So the whiter media houses actually completely switched the narrative to say it's just hair, like they're protesting for just hair. And our statement was that it's deeper than just hair. This is an issue of identity. This is an issue of the fact that these institutions, not just Girls High, are at war with like blackness. And blackness as an identity, and it's not just like it's just the entire dynamic of our country.
How would you have told the story better if you could communicate, or if you had a hand in how the media changed the narrative and basically who you are and stuff?
I think I would tell it the same way I said it. It's not just about hair. This is about the fact that we're living in a country that is governed by white aesthetics and white culture. So blackness is seen as the other, and it's treated as the other and excluded. And what I said is that it's not just even about just talking about issues of identity. It's talking about the fact that racism is still prevalent in the country, and it hasn't been eradicated with this whole idea that we have that racism stopped in 1994, you know. So I would still tell it like that hair was a symptom of a bigger diagnosis, and the diagnosis being institutionalized racism. And hair was one of the symptoms. Just like when you have COVID, you don't say, oh, I was coughing for 2 weeks. Coughing was one of the symptoms. You had other symptoms, but the diagnosis was COVID.
What do you think led to the focus on hair?
I think what led to the
over-focus. Yes, there was a focus on hair, even from you guys, but I mean as a symptom. What led to the media, obviously now you even mentioned earlier, seeing you as sort of a natural hair I'll say influencer for lack of a better word.
I think what led to the focus on hair was the images, right?
Okay.
The images, because we live in a world where we don't even just get viewed as just normal people. We get viewed as political beings the minute we wear our hair. As it grows,
hair is
right?
politicized in and of itself.
Exactly, right? So I feel like it was in the images, right? And then also when we were unpacking literal policies in black and white, when we spoke about things, other incidents that we had, right? You couldn't pinpoint a rule, but with hair, you could pinpoint the rule.
Yes, I get you.
You could pinpoint the rule. So I think that was the focus, and also just the fact that, like, in general, as Black people, our bodies are politicized as well. So that also became a factor that led to the focus on hair. I was then viewed for some time as like a natural hair care person, you know. Like I would be asked questions that I found very, very, like, I just didn't have an answer. So it was like frustrating for me to think of an answer. Like, I get asked hair care questions, or I get asked like questions around, like, you know, the curl pattern, things that I couldn't answer.
And I'm the opposite, right? So when I'm asked political questions about hair, like, I can't even think of any, but I've been asked questions like, I remember there was an interview, it's actually on YouTube, I'll link it up here. It says, a girl at war, or whatever, ending the whatever against hair. And how I started my hair care stuff was literally because I couldn't care for my hair. So I was learning how to care for it and sharing. I never politicized my hair. I didn't think too deeply into the identity part. Yes, now I have uncovered those parts. But I mean, being asked those questions and having to have a profound answer was too much pressure for me. So I'd ask before, like I went on ENC or whatever, I'd say, please don't ask me political questions about hair. Please focus on hair care. And even recently, last year, I did an ENCA interview and I said, please focus on love kinks and the hair care aspect. So I get how you're saying with you, they'd force the hair care questions, not force, but they impose their hair care questions.
Have an answer.
And then sometimes on me, they impose political questions. I don't have an answer. It's more like, get the right person around the hair issue.
Relevant.
Yes. Or put us together, you know what I mean? But people just always assume if you have natural hair, you're making a political statement.
Oh yeah, and also, like, for me, I always like made it clear to people, like, guys, I'm not a hair person. I can refer you to hair people, but I'm not a hair person. I remember someone even asked me, like, question on, like, what are the right products to use, and I literally said to them, I can't answer because I buy the cheapest thing on the shelf. So I can tell you whatever is cheap, you know, but I can't. And also just drink water. You'll be fine.
Take it off inside.
So I remember, and they were just frustrated with me because I gave them that answer, and I was like, I can't answer you because for me, it's just like I'm being me, and I'm the person whereby, for me, my activism is centered around race issues, racism, unpacking race.
Yes, and then hair is a symptom of racism. So now you're 19. May I ask, are you in university? And what are you studying?
So I'm doing a BA in politics, and I took philosophy as an elective. And that was because when I was picking a degree, I thought about then doing a politics undergrad, then doing postgrad LLB, because I was like,
oh yes,
you know, I want to have
2 years after
the political research background and that side, and then so that's still a thing, right? That's definitely still a thing.
And then now you have a book, and so tell me, with the misrepresentation a little bit through the media after 2016 and who you've become, now it's 5-6 years later. You've got a book out. Tell me about your book, and then tell me who is Zuleka going forward, and who do you want to, who are you? You know.
So the book is titled My Coily Crowny Hair, and I specifically titled it this. Okay, this is just like a side aspect. I wanted to come up with my own word because I just had this thing. I was like, if Shakespeare can come up with 1,600 words, I'm joining the crew, coming to the party. But then I also wanted something that would affirm ownership and affirm agency. So that's why I had to have the my, because I wanted like the minute a kid picks it up, when they say it, they're like practicing agency, because I felt like we don't get taught agency as Black girls. Like we're always like taught to see our bodies in other people's eyes or through other perspectives, but not our own, and actually like claim them, you know, like say my without thinking twice about it, you know. And then also the reason why I wrote a book centered around hair was that it was because it was linked to my childhood, you know. The book is more of an honor to my childhood and what I wanted as a child. As a child, I wanted to be introduced to a character that I could look up to as a superhero character, or just a empowering character that was relatable, that had a name that was long, defined as long, you know, just emphasis on that, and hard to say, and that had hair that looked like mine, and just a character that I could relate to and see myself through. And also, I wanted a story of positivity, right? Because I feel like whenever you tell African narratives, there's always an element of sorrow that's always attached to it, you know, or insecurity. And I didn't want
it's very one-dimensional. Like I never ever want the hard, the sad, and those kind of stories to stop. Like even with the series that Tusombedu's in, I never want that to stop. People are saying they're tired of slave movies and all of that, but I think there needs to also be a lighter, more positive, more we living.
A side that shows that Blackness isn't just something that should be rendered to struggle.
100%.
You know, so when I was writing the book, I was like, I want a book that's positive from page 1 till the last page, right? And also I wanted to basically be an honor to my childhood dreams, something I wanted to see. And I felt that like when I walked into a store, there weren't books that affirmed Black hair in a sense whereby it was positive. It was a positive side of it. There's always a story whereby you're insecure in the first part of it, and then you must still find yourself.
So you want the ideal more than the struggle then reaching. What you reached, like let's say in grade 10, you wanted that story from get-go.
Yes.
So our kids maybe don't have to struggle first.
Yes.
Love that.
Yeah, I just wanted to really write a positive African story, and I did that. And
you did that, and it's available at CNA exclusive books
and Ethnic Kids.
We could talk forever, but I just want you to, I'm not gonna put you on the spot or anything, but like, what are your parting words, and what would you like to say to anyone watching this? And basically, when you look back to this video in 10 years' time, what so yeah, it doesn't have to be profound, but yeah,
I don't know, I think that's pressure.
Sorry. It doesn't have to be anything, just you.
Okay, I think my parting words would be really, I think people should learn to love their hair in the way it grows out on its own, because I think that one thing that we're taught to love our hair through other people's hair. You know, like for example, people will only love their hair the minute they see an influential person doing something, and then they want it to look exactly like theirs. And I feel like hair is like, it's like a fingerprint. It's really that's really just unique to you as a person. And I think people need to begin to love their own unique hair, because we're not going to have the same hair, we're not going to do the same things to our hair. I think just, it's more than hair.
Definitely,
it's more than hair. Way more than hair.
It's not just hair.
Yeah.
So lovely to have you, Zuleka, on the channel.
Thank you.
I hope that we keep in touch. I know sometimes I don't engage properly, like on Instagram. It's more work now for me, so I don't chat as much in the DM and all of that. But I'd love to continue our conversations on DM, and hopefully, if you have a second event, I couldn't make it to her event before because I was writing exams and all of that. So hopefully, if you have another book launch or an event, I'll be there. Yeah, maybe when we get vaccinated.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I'll definitely be doing master classes as well after we get vaccinated. So maybe I'll invite you. Yes,
so I can learn to actually look after my hair.
But whatever you're doing, clearly your mom and wherever you've learned, your hair looks gorgeous.
Thank you.
And it's working. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. See natural.